Welcome to the Rising Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we feature top founders and entrepreneurs and their journey. Now, let's get started with the show.
All right, welcome everyone. John Corcoran here. I am the host of this show, and every week we interview smart CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs from all kinds of companies. And if you check out the archives, got lots of great episodes for you to check out there. And today is no exception. And before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by EO San Francisco, which is the Bay Area chapter of Entrepreneurs Organization, which is a global peer-to-peer network of more than 20,000 influential business owners across 200 chapters, 60 plus countries. And if you're the founder, co-founder, owner, or controlling shareholder of a company that generates over $1 million a year in revenues and you want to connect with other like-minded successful entrepreneurs, EO is for you. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to our website, eosf.org or eonetwork.org/San Francisco. Either of those will take you to learn more about our program. All right, my guest here today is Taryn Bozzo. She's the CEO of AV Images. It's a full-service audiovisual production company that's been delivering high-impact event solutions for 40-plus years. She stepped into the CEO role after spending a number of years in public service at the city level. She's since led AV Images through a lot of changes. We've had COVID, we've had changes with AI and things like that, pandemic, hybrid and virtual events. And so it's been a really interesting time to be in this line of work. So we're going to hear about what that was like and taking over the business from the next generation, basically. And so Taryn, such a pleasure to have you here today. And first, tell me the story. You were your only child, and your dad started the company the same year you were born. So you kind of grew up around this business that you now lead, which has got to be an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I was an only child, unexpected for my parents. My dad started the company about 3 months before I was born in 1985. So
Wow.
I think it's always been a sort of sibling for me in a way. I grew up with AV Images, always a huge part of my life. I mean, he grew the company from, just renting out projectors to local companies in San Ramon to becoming a multi-million-dollar business in the 1990s, mostly through the trade show industry. So it's always had a place in my heart, and it's always been familiar to me, as well as the team that makes it. And I think it's, the universe's way of sort of making sure that we're solidified for the rest of our lives.
And I want to hear that story. But first, you didn't go into the family business. You went into something very non-entrepreneurial. You went to go work for a city.
Yeah, I had no plans. I did take some, jobs here and there over the summer. My first job was answering phones after school at, the AV Images front desk in Dublin. So I knew enough to be dangerous. But when I graduated high school, took a couple of years to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. Local government seemed like a good bet for me, right? Great benefits, great pay, I could learn. And I really found like growth potential there. I did really, really well. I also worked for the city I grew up in, so everything was familiar to me. And my trajectory there was, through the roof. It was a really, really great place for me for 12 years.
And so what changed?
My dad died in 2010, unexpectedly. And with that, no directives, no will, kind of nothing to let us know what could happen after that. His brother took over CEO position because he was the CFO of the company at the time, and unfortunately wasn't doing right by the company, wasn't running the company the way that someone should. And so from, 2010 to 2018, really, I was working through being the board chair, just trying to get things back on track. He decided to leave in 2018. And on the day I was due with my second child, my son, I was in the conference room with all the employees saying, our CEO has left and I will be stepping in the interim.
So this
Um,
also wasn't an orderly transition, kind of like when your
no.
father died. So he just
Yeah.
decided to leave suddenly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I took over, had my son,
So you weren't
took a,
at that point, you were, other than being on the board chair, you weren't planning on getting stepping into the business. No.
no,
Mm.
not at all.
Wow.
It was a very quick progression, but I also, things align sometimes. And I think that I knew that I had to pivot and come here and at least try to
Yeah.
clean everything up and do right by the team. My dad was all about his team. He was from Hawaii, was, the epitome of the aloha spirit. And so I felt that I guess I felt sort of obligated to come in and try to continue that for everybody.
And to step in, and how
Mhm.
many employees did it have at that time in 2018?
I think we had 21 or 22.
And you said that many of them have been around for at this point have been around for 25 years, so they
Yeah.
knew you as a little.
Yes.
What was that like when young Taryn, the baby, steps in as the boss? That can be a little awkward sometimes.
Yeah, I think I wasn't surprised that the welcoming was so warm. I think with what everyone had been through between, AV Images growing to this multi-million-dollar company, the dot-com bust, 2001, like just the 2008 recession there, it had gone through a lot. It was still surviving. And so I think at least what I tell myself is it was sort of this opportunity of like, okay, someone's coming back who is a lot like our founder, same, right? Same genetics, same kind of personality. I think people were excited and hopeful. And that just really ignited me more to really commit and go all in.
But there must have been some hard parts too, right? Usually you hear these horror stories when a second generation steps in that, there's some tensions and things like that and some growing pains, and you have to exert a little authority to show them that you're the boss now. There must have been some of that.
Yeah, there was definitely, I think the first year, especially, I had to make some really tough decisions as far as, you know, cutting people and making decisions that I really didn't want to make or anticipated making. But, I came in and had to make sense of things. I had to make it make sense. And so I did those things. And unfortunately, it's not, I mean, as every business owner knows, it's not fun to have those conversations. It's not
Yeah.
fun to let go of people or have to explain to the team, right, the context behind it. And especially having to let go of people who, one, have been with the company for 20 plus years, two, people I've known my entire life.
Hmm.
It's incredibly uncomfortable. Um, but then, once it's done, you realize, okay, that was the best thing I could have done for the company, for where we're going. And you just kind of move on.
Tell me more about this awkward period, the 8 years before your uncle leaves. That must have been incredibly hard to have it be a family member, an uncle who was holding the company back, not, that was in the role of CEO and the company wasn't thriving. What was that like for you?
I was so young. I was 25 when my dad died. I'd just gotten married a month and a half prior.
Mm, mm,
Um, I think that, especially because my dad and I were so close, it was a severe loss. I was really in a period of immense grief for a good, 5 years of those eight
mm,
years.
mm,
And had it not been for my husband really pushing me to like, there's something here with this company. Don't just let it go. Like, stay involved. He was really just a huge piece of me being here today,
mm,
even.
mm,
Because he could see outside of the grief, right? Outside of
mhm.
the trauma. Um, but it was 8 years of just feeling like there was weird stuff going on, but I didn't know the questions to ask. You don't know what you don't know.
No.
Um, and just trying to really claw through grief and understanding what was going on with the company. What should we be asking? Um, just it was it was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
really really
Yeah.
awful time
How,
actually.
how have you tried to grow as a leader since you stepped into this role as the CEO of the company?
Um, you know, to me, growing as a leader is just constantly trying to face those really uncomfortable moments that, right, are the small moments in our everyday, and then the big moments, right, of having really hard conversations with people. Um, I'm just I'm constantly talking to my team, and I'm constantly asking how we can do things differently, how we can do things better. Um, trying to better understand my blind spots and trying to better understand what I'm doing right, what's working, and just, being willing to adjust and pivot as needed. And what it always comes down to, just being vulnerable.
Yeah. 2 years into your becoming CEO, then the pandemic hits, which
Mhm.
of course hit event industry businesses particularly hard. Restaurants and event industry companies, looking back on it now, are probably two of the most hard hit.
Yeah.
Um, Take me back to that period of time and what you did. What did you do when that started to unfold?
Yeah, it seems like a blur now. Thank God.
Trying
It
to like
was,
force it out of your head.
yeah, just that's a trauma we don't ever
Yeah.
want to think about anymore. It was crazy because I came in, I cleaned things up. We had our books were a mess. Just our entire accounting of the company was a mess. And so that was my focus for 2 years, was just cleaning up, getting everything back up to a proper place, getting our books clean, and making sure that our profits were in the bank. I did that as of beginning of 2020. I mean, we were like, cool, we're ready to go. Like the the world's our oyster. Um, the pandemic hits right after our last big show in Q1. And, just like everybody, right? We're thinking, oh, we'll be shut down for a couple weeks, 3 weeks at the most, no big deal. Um, we were scrambling. We didn't know what was going on. Everything, I mean, our revenues went from, right, $2 million projection in the next couple months to nothing. I mean, everything
Mm,
was just canceled.
mm,
Um, and it was scary. We had no idea what was going to happen or what was going on. So, like most businesses, right, we furloughed. We were trying to, thank God, with the help of EO and the community of entrepreneurs, figuring out PPP and how that worked, um, and just kind of clamoring for support. But fast forward, we were shut down for 2 years
wow.
solid.
And did
We
you
had
pivot to hybrid events or virtual events or anything like that?
we did, and we had always had the capability, but obviously it was something we needed to, kind of expedite what that
Hmm.
what that
Yeah.
process was. We had a few jobs in those 2 years that really helped us through. Some were live events, right, with a lot of regulation and whatnot. Some were virtual events or hybrid events. But I think at that time, because I was still so new and I was still figuring out my place in the company, I really took that opportunity during the pandemic to focus internally, um, learn the business, understand our accounting. I mean, had we not had the opportunity to slow down and give me a chance to go, okay, how do we do things the way we do? Definitely wouldn't have come out of it and been as successful as we have been. So I took advantage. I took advantage of the downtime to really just go, okay, if we make it through this, which I hope we do, if we make it through this, I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And you have, I don't know what point it became that about 75% of your work you said is in Las Vegas. You're located in Northern California. That must present a whole nother challenge, just managing that kind of work from afar. So how have you managed to do that, to have a business that where you're headquartered and your people are, kind of far from where the majority of the work is?
Yeah. So we've always done work throughout the continental United States. When we were, back in the 90s and early 2000s, we were doing work globally even. So part of our, I would say, our secret sauce, or not so secret sauce now, is our relationships with vendors across the nation. These are legacy relationships that my team has built over the last 2+ decades. But having, vendor relationships, right? Whether it's vendors for gear, whether it's vendors, freelancers, and subcontracted labor, whatever it is that we don't either have in-house or that we don't have wherever the show's happening, we have a trusted partner who we're working with to help supply all of that. Vegas is, specifically, we have 2 remote employees who live there. They're sort of our touch points in that area. And we're just actually going to open a space in the beginning of next year, just a small space that we're renting from a partner, but we'll finally have like a 4 walls in Vegas. It's been a long time since we've had that. So that's exciting. To start, being able to have a little bit more of a hand over there.
And now we were chatting before and you said that AI hasn't really affected you because you are kind of the boots on the ground. You guys go in, you physically move the equipment, put the equipment in place, or, record the events, stuff like that. I'm curious though, because my brother works in Hollywood and LA in the entertainment industry. That industry is undergoing a lot of upheaval, and it's going to, as the production of entertainment changes. That could have ripple effects where, maybe people are looking to expand into like corporate work and stuff like that. Are you fearful of that?
No, I think AI is still so new, although it's evolving rapidly, right? While it doesn't, knock on wood, impact our particular service, I think we're really trying to grab a hold of it and understand how it can help us, right? Whether it's internally with our team and our processes, or how we can use it to, improve our services and what we deliver. So I think you're always a little nervous about new technology, especially AI, considering the power that it has so much potential, right? But I think we're more excited about the potential for us specifically.
Good attitude to have.
Yeah.
Taryn, this has been great. I appreciate you sharing your whole story and the backstory around AV Images. And where can people go who are interested in knowing more about you, connecting with you, and if they have a video project, tell a little bit about the types of ideal clients that you work with.
Yeah. So, I mean, we work with all kinds of clients across the board, from direct companies to exhibit houses, event agencies, event planners. If you're planning an event, call us. We're happy to help, even if it's not necessarily our specialty. We've been in the industry for so long. If we can't help, we know someone who can. Yeah, I mean, we're open. We're ready to go.
And avimages.com is the website. Is that the best place to reach out to you?
avimages.com is our website. Our socials specifically are always up to date. We're big on social media and rolling out content constantly. So we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of our contact information is accessible through there.
Great. Taryn, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Rising Entrepreneurs Podcast. This episode is powered by Rise 25. Please subscribe and check out future episodes.